Hello and welcome. I'm Kate McKay, and thank you for my program, which is focusing on how not only to survive, but thrive during these really challenging times. And today I'm really excited about introducing someone that I know and care for very much. I'm introducing Donna Stellhorn. And Donna is an astrologer, a feng shui expert, and has written 16 books. Including Feng Shui Form and the best-selling booklet, Sage and Smudge. Her annual Chinese astrology series, which includes Chinese Astrology 2020, Year of the Metal Rat, is the best-selling Chinese astrology series on Amazon. In her spare time, Donna performs with Improv City, and when she wants to be terrified, she does stand-up comedy. Donna lives in Orange County, California, with her magical cat, La Rue. Welcome, Donna. Thank you so much for being with me today.
Hi, I am so excited to be here. This is fantastic.
So much. Yeah, this is great. So I've known Donna for, a few years. And as an entrepreneur, it's my belief that we all need a board of directors. And for me, that includes an astrologer, and that would be Donna. So thank you so much for being here. She's guided me through many challenges and provided me with incredible wisdom and insight to help me certainly up level my life.
Well, astrologers throughout history have been the advisors to kings, so I'm very honored to be on your board of directors.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So thank you so much. So the title of our talk is an astrological look ahead. And based on where we are now, Donna, I would just like to know, how are you coping right now during this really challenging time with the coronavirus?
Well, when we take the long view of things, all of us who are of a certain age have already been through different types of events, 9/11 and the economic recession and all of that. So yeah, it sometimes can be hard when we think, oh, things were going so well. But for every time we have spring, summer, and fall, there has to be winter. And this is a time where we get to come together now electronically instead of physically, and we get to pause to think about where we are, where we're going. We get to be resourceful and creative and inventive. I mean, so many great things will come out of this tragedy. So that's where, you and I both connect with people to help them do that.
Right, because we are in the transformative work. And I think that's why I've been super sensitive about the suffering that this kind of challenge can bring. Because I think in general, I've mentioned this before, but people have been so busy rushing out of their homes. And now we're moored into them. And that is bringing up a lot of issues for many people. I think at the beginning, people were excited. Oh my gosh, I get to do this and that. And isn't this wonderful? But this isn't just a snow day, like in the East Coast anyway. But, we have to come up with other resources, and it's not just on our to-do list. And what would you tell people, maybe from an astrological or a feng shui perspective, because you have both mastery areas of expertise, for people who are struggling right now?
It's interesting how our home is becoming our sanctuary. I think it was George Carlin said that we would get a home to put stuff in, and then we'd leave it to go get more stuff. And so, what is in our home is actually a reflection of what's going on inside of us. Mm-hmm. And so for some of us, that means that we do have our sanctuary. We have, a place in the home where we can sit and by the window and see the world, and where we can connect with others in the family and things like that. But sometimes we're in a home where there's some chaos going on, and now we have maybe a little bit more time to sort through those things and get ready when we can go out into the world to declutter a bit, to get things into the hands of people who could use those things. Mm-hmm. So I do think looking around at our home and, one, being very grateful for what we have, but also saying to ourselves, how is this supporting what I want to accomplish?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that also too, it's like all of that buying, and then the meaning of things shifts. Like, wow, that felt like it had a different meaning. And I think through transformation, the meaning shift.
Yes, I know that there was a lot of buying. Now I'm in California, and so honestly, we all should have an emergency kit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And I did, I have the 2 weeks of food, 1 week of water, a month's worth of cat food, so the cat doesn't kill me in my sleep. And so when I see people in California rushing out, I think, we have to be more prepared because we get earthquakes. Back east, you guys get hurricanes and big snowstorms. Maybe you get a little bit of warning, but not much. And I think it's our responsibility to have some supplies at home for when things happen where, as this maybe goes through from city to city, people can say, okay, I can stay home. And I do want to be sensitive, of course, to all those people who work with the public who can't necessarily, be home for their job. But if then they can say, but I still have enough supplies at home for when I get home, that they don't have to make extra errands or things like that. So as I think as this all settles down, that we should still keep a good supply of things in the house for things in the future.
Right. And then culling out what doesn't belong. And I think that's the wonderful thing.
Yes.
And I think that parallels not only our physical space, but also our mental and emotional space. And a lot of the work that I do clearly as a coach is the transformative phase of what needs to go in order to be your highest and best self. And I know certainly that's your work with both Feng Shui and astrology. So what is your, I would just love a little background on how you found astrology and why you found it so important and so meaningful, because you have a financial background, I believe.
Yeah, well, that and computer science. So I was working on computers back when they took up entire rooms. And but it was, it was one of those stories where the universe just opened up and directed me, where the CFO of the company where I was doing computer work said, I want to do your numerology. And I said, great. And so she did. And she said, wow, you have a real talent with astrology. Well, oh my gosh, I was so excited to have a talent in something that I rushed out that day and started a class. And at that first class, I said, I'm going to do this for a living.
Wow.
And so after years of study, I got to start seeing clients. And of course, this was a long time ago. And so I've been doing it ever since. But what still amazes me is how we can see things coming for our personal lives and for the greater world. So, and as you and I were talking about, in 2019, every lecture I did said that economically we're going to be at the top of the market in January and February. Get ready. If you need to sell a house or things like that, do that now. And then January and February came along, and I was like feeling a little like an idiot. And then of course things started to happen in March. And this was very clear astrologically. Now, there are medical astrologers out there who knew there was a pandemic coming. We can see that in some of the books they wrote. I do more about, personal success and coaching and personal finance. And that's why I looked at it from the financial standpoint.
Right. And just protect your assets. I know we have lots of conversations in regards to a lot of things, business and personal development and relationships. So I would love to just segue into that, because so much of what people think about when they think of astrology, and I've been fascinated with astrology since I was, young, like junior high school. And people think of just their sun sign. But oftentimes, really what's going on is when we're under high stress, it's not always our sun sign that is addressing that emotional space. Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I find this very fascinating.
Yeah, in your chart, you do have more than your sun sign. You have the moon and you have planets, and these planets can talk and interact with each other, which describes the person's personality. So we find that even twins have different enough charts where you see a difference in those people. And of course, then if we look at just random people, your chart can be so different than somebody else's, giving you such a very specific experience.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we kind of group everything in sun signs as a little shorthand, which is still helpful. It's helpful for you to, read what's coming up. But if you know your moon sign, which you can find out by running your chart, and if anybody wants a copy of their chart, just they can email me and I can send them a PDF. There are some also online sources. And then if you know your time of birth, you can get your ascendant. And your ascendant is about what happens to you physically. Your moon sign is how you deal with things emotionally. And your sun sign is what you're learning in this life. So as a Leo, you are learning to be a leader. So as a Libra that I am learning how to relate and balance. Mm-hmm. And we may spend our whole lives trying to figure these things out. But when we look at our moon sign, then we know, oh, this is what's happening in my life. Mm-hmm. So when an astrologer writes predictions, for example, I write the weekly column for sunsigns.com. So when you read that column, read your moon sign. Mm-hmm. That's what's going to be happening to you.
Right. Is your moon sign also a place that is a place of healing, like where you need to heal in this lifetime? Do you interpret the moon sign like that?
You can. It is a place of need. And so wherever your moon sign is, you were denied that when you were young so that you would go forth to fill it for yourself. Mm-hmm. And so it's not necessarily the fault of parents or your environment, but you needed that lack to motivate you to go and have that. So now you and I both share the same Capricorn moon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
Capricorn moon, which I do consider one of the two hardest moons that you can have, means that what you need is respect. What you need is a sense of accomplishment. But when you're 10 years old, you get no respect. You have nothing you've accomplished. And so it takes a while for the Capricorn moon to really come into their own.
Right. And we were laughing right before we hit play on this whatever. Yes, our call. And we were both laughing saying, oh my gosh, like us Capricorn moons, what we're doing is we're working. Like I'm going to start this program, all these things that I'm creating. I'm going to finish this book. And this is how we deal with stress. And I know other people probably think what's totally weird, but it's just how I manage. It's how I manage my stress is production. And but yet on top of my sun sign, people think, oh, I'm just outgoing, I'm social, I'm this, I'm that. But in essence, a lot of me is not that. So I think that's why it's so important to get your chart done. And I highly recommend you guys reaching out to Donna on the information that we provided here, both her website, and we'll also be providing her email address. But tell us more. I can hear you forever.
So with a moon sign, once you know your moon sign, you get so much insight. So for example, an Aries moon needs to do something and probably make some noise in the process of it. And so, if you have Aries moon kids and they're bouncing around, you might need to give them some pots and pans to bang together so that they get this energy out, versus your Taurus moon kids who are sitting like little lumps on the sofa, and you're trying to get them up to do something, but no, they need to be still for just a little while because they're processing things. So allow them that space.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And I think that what's happened in China, and this is what makes me gives me pause, is that what they noticed through the Hunan is that the divorce rate has increased. So this, you're talking about a child, but what about your intimate relationships that you've been running from? right? And our work as coaches and astrologers and spiritual guides are going to be even come more to the forefront of how do you heal these relationships once you're moored into them.
Yes. With Chinese astrology, a lot of people dismiss it because they say it's an annual sign. But of course, in Chinese astrology, you also have a sign for the month you were born, the day you were born, the time you were born. It's a different system. But when we look at the annual sign, we see the energy that's happening. The last rat year, so we're currently in the year of the metal rat. The last rat year we had was 2008. So that reminds us of that.
Yes.
But when we think of the little mouse, he's in this hole in the wall, his home. What does he do? He sees an opportunity. He runs out of his little home, grabs the cheese or whatever, and runs back home because he's vulnerable.
Right.
And this is our experience this year. But from our vantage point of this safety in the wall, we do need to be scanning the opportunities and really going for it when it presents itself. And there will be so many opportunities.
I love that.
Then in 2021, we will go into the year of the ox. And the ox, think of the ox, the ox puts on the yoke and starts to plow. Mm-hmm. And he's plowing this bare field, breaking up the earth from winter. So it's very hard work. It's very rewarding. And it is work we know how to do. So, but it is, the work has to be done, and that will be 2021. So there we are, not necessarily struggling, but, in our, whatever it is that we want to do, we see the tasks and we're doing them.
That's awesome. Well, I think that the one thing about that is a great image of the rat, and we are scanning for opportunity if we have the courage enough to keep our hearts open and our eyes open to new experiences, and not just be hiding behind a wall of toilet paper, in this current situation, right? So, so that's super cool. So what would you recommend that people do to do more of that visioning right now when they're feeling scared, anxious, isolated, depressed, and all of these other things? What are some tools and strategies, whether it's from a feng shui perspective, or what do you offer your clients?
Well, let's start with basic psychology and your reticular activating system. That is that part of your brain that looks for things that are connected or similar. And that is, why when you buy a new car, suddenly you see everybody else has that same exact car. So it is because your brain is matching up similar things. So if you are at the door of your home, basically that safe place, and you're looking at the world, if you're looking with eyes of where's the trouble, where's the problem, you will see much of that. If you actually set yourself to say, where are the opportunities? What can I invent? Who is a group of people that need me? What can I do now that my schedule's so disrupted? Your brain will scan for those opportunities.
That's awesome. That's really helpful. And what is the switch? I mean, do you use a mantra or a meditation, or what would be some ways that we could support people in actually shifting that vision from a different pair of eyes, maybe?
Yeah, well, from a feng shui standpoint, I like to set up my environment to support my success. So that is that by the front door, I'm going to place objects that remind me of success. And you can scour the home, like perhaps you're going to put a bowl on the table by the front door and fill it with crystals and coins and things like that. Maybe you write a list of goals and you post that there. Go out to the porch and shake out the welcome mat to say, I'm welcoming new opportunities. Trim back the plants if necessary, or sweep the porch. And as you sweep away from the house and say, I'm sweeping away the negativity, and then sweep towards, I'm sweeping in the positive. You can open up your spice cupboard and you can get cinnamon, which attracts opportunities, and sprinkle that under your welcome mat. or you could take the sage that you used last year to make your turkey and put that in a little fireproof container and burn that and clear the energy in the house.
I love that. That's really good. That's awesome. That is really good. So what else would you suggest, maybe from either a feng shui or astrology perspective, on moving through this time?
Well, I do want everyone to recognize that this thing that's happening is it's going to come and go for a while. And so people need to trust themselves when they suddenly, like, you wake up in the morning and you think, you know, today I need to go get a couple of items at the store, or today I feel like I'm going to stay home, and you need to trust that. So astrologers are seeing some, and you know, actually intuitives also are seeing some difficulties, especially in May and late May, early June. August, the second half of August looks quite difficult, and November looks quite difficult. And so that's why I say, you know, keep up your supplies so that you have enough, you know, because we don't know exactly where in the world this will be happening. So, and then when there are opportunities, when there are times where you can be out and can connect with others, take that opportunity, you know, put down your phone and actually have a conversation with somebody. So
I know, I love that. I'm finding, you know, there has been so much negativity about, you know, social media in general. And I find this interaction, I mean, how often is it like, this is the first time you and I ever talk like this, and we've been talking for, you know, over 3 years, but how wonderful and how deeply intimate it is that we're like literally looking at each other. Our hearts are facing each other. And I find this extraordinarily intimate. And I'm just so thrilled for this technology and for this opportunity.
We are so blessed. And this is one of the things that we can do for people right now, which is, if you already know how to use a platform like Zoom or any of the other video conferencing platforms, go out and tell people, and go out, I mean, by text and phone, go out and tell people how to use it. And you know, later today, that's what I'm doing. I'm gathering several friends, and we're just going to walk through it step by step so that they can, you know, talk to their grandkids and their relatives all over. You know, let's spread our knowledge.
I agree. And I think also too, some of the people that I've interviewed, they're like, I don't know how to use it. And I said, I will show you. And so just come out a few minutes early. And, you know, it's an easy technology. And I think right now I view this as like a game-changing time. And I think it's really leveling the playing field of people who are experts at whatever they do. So now if you can embrace this form of technology and lean into people that know how to play on it, you know, like Donna and myself, and lean into that and take this opportunity to step into your greatness and your power. It's your time. Like, this is your time. Again, level playing field, financially, socially, emotionally, spiritually, in your career, because everything is a leveler, and this virus has definitely showed that to be true. So
and I think we really need to consider that the way of learning this. We can get overwhelmed with the idea of technology, but almost everybody out there who's listening to this knows how to drive a car, but doesn't know all the parts of the car. So, and that's why I say you don't need to know the parts of a car to drive one. What's important is to hone everything you want to know down to a single question, versus, you know, like, oh, I have to learn all this technology. No, just learn how to turn on the video conferencing. That's step one. You know, maybe in a week you say, okay, I'm going to learn how to record the video conferencing, you know, that sort of thing. But just like if you were learning a language, you would not memorize the dictionary.
Right. And like any of those people that are learning how to do languages, I'm doing Duolingo for French because I still want to go to France. And I'm also doing splits in 30 days. So I'm working on that. And that's just a simple app. So I just think, so and that's just one step. And I think that is also another reason why creating really small daily habits is essential in all areas of your life, both your nutrition, your exercise, your emotional and your spiritual and your communal and your intimate relationships. All of those should have daily habits to foster.
Yeah, I really recommend Khan Academy.
Excellent.
They have free classes, 10-minute classes on every subject imaginable for all levels. I've been doing Khan Academy for probably, I don't know, 5 or 6 years, and it is incredible.
I'm just typing it in, Donna. Is it CONN?
It's KHAN.
Oh, KAHN. Okay, great.
Yes.
I'm going to write that in here so that the viewers can tag that. Khan
Yes.
Academy. Okay, perfect.
Yes. So all the especially when you've got kids at home, and some of the schools are now doing online things, but they're struggling because they had to do this very quickly, and the
Right.
kids are bored. They can go through full programs on math or science or learning how to program themselves. So it's really incredible learning platform, and each video is just 10 minutes long.
Right. You're never too old to learn. I think that's, you and I share that, that thrill of learning new information. And so you're never too old. It's like that self-talk. And I think this is that great time to shed those negative self-talk, those voices. I'm too old, I'm too fat, I'm too this, I'm too that. I hear it all the time. And I have those same voices, but I do know that my commitment to serve is what puts me up and putting 2 feet on the floor every morning, for sure.
Yeah. Everything gets better when you switch those voices to the positive. Because if you wouldn't say those words to your child or to your best friend or to your dog, don't say them to yourself. They're not encouraging. They're not in any way motivating.
Mm-hmm.
So, and just try for a day where you say to yourself, yeah, I'm doing okay.
Mm-hmm.
Because you will find then you do more.
Absolutely. And you're no longer frozen in fear, which is, I think, what's happening to a lot of people, because the uncertainty of what is. And I think that people think, okay, 2 weeks, that's cool. But if we don't know how long that's going to be, that's when we start to unravel. So really taking these actionable steps that Donna has offered today, I think is really super cool. So in, what did you say? The end of May will be a little bit more challenging, in November.
Yeah, end of May, early June. We do have eclipses in June, and that can cause some disruption. But I'm seeing a lot in people's charts where they're needing to maybe back away from the world a little bit, which could mean there's flare-ups. In August, late August, we do have some very difficult energy. So something is going on then. And again, that'll be a time where you might want to take that last 2 weeks of August and just, say, I'm going to stay home for this. And then we see something going on in November. So, and this is, like from the bird's eye view.
Right.
If I looked at a person's chart, then I could say, oh yeah, what's happening is your company is restructuring, or, you're fighting with your mother-in-law. And there are then steps to take to mitigate not only that energy, but to find the opportunity, the learning, and the joy.
Right. And I think that that's the part that I think I would love the viewers to really hear, is that astrology isn't, this is what it is, this is your life, and this is how it is. It's a snapshot. And with someone like Donna, what it does is it that person's able to read your chart and provide insight about how you can work through challenges. And I think that you even said this to me, Donna, that if you want to find the easiest charts, look at out in the streets, because it's usually the homeless people, right? So we grow through our challenges. And, I don't have an easy chart, and yet I persevered through it, right? So I think that that's the goal, is to understand, really get a deeper understanding of who you are, and then build those skills and strategies so that you can live your highest and best life. And certainly astrology is a fantastic tool. And
yeah, it's not that it's dictating to you, it's a GPS for your life. Right. And so if the GPS says there's trouble ahead, then you can decide, oh, I'll get off the freeway, or I'm going to wait it out, or maybe I'll change my route entirely and go on a different day. So what the astrology says is here's the rough spot. Now, how you approach that rough spot makes a huge difference. So, and I see people doing the same aspect, and one having an amazing experience, and another one saying, oh, well, that's happening, I'm just giving up. And so it does come down to this idea of, look, you've been alerted don't get scared, get ready.
Right. Oh, I love that. Don't get scared, get ready. That's perfect. So is there anything else that you'd like to, finish off with? Again, I'm super psyched that we had this opportunity to chat.
So just recognize that this is an opportunity to break out of your normal routine. So there is a very much of a desire to get back into your routine, but just like you were saying before, small changes can lead to these huge results. So the idea of doing one yoga pose a day makes you a difference in your body in a year. Eating 100 less calories a day can cause you to lose 10 pounds in a year.
Mm-hmm.
Writing 100 words a day, you have a book done in a year. So consider adding some new little mini habits that when we do go back to our normal lives, those can be just folded in because they don't take that much time and they lead to these huge results.
Yeah, that's perfect. I love that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Donna. I really appreciate it. And Donna's contact information is in the chat box, so you can fully access that there. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to her. I highly recommend it. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. This was a pleasure.
We'll talk again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.